What up, what up, what up? We are rolling, we are rolling. Little lag there. Share live. So is that what happened? Sorry, I'm doing some like technical bullshit. When it doesn't even matter anymore, right? Because it's the last Periscope. Still somehow doing technical crap on here. Guys, look at it. Cherry tree has blooms. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful day, guys. Beautiful day. Well, we got some stuff to talk about. Final Periscope today. Final Periscope. Not our final live video, let's be honest here. Kind of scamming you guys a little bit with that. I think Twitter Live is basically the same thing, but I'm going to have to figure out what to do with that because I haven't done it before. But wanted to milk out our good old Periscope to the last day. We're gonna have to talk about some fun stuff. The end of a beginning. Exactly. That's exactly right. It's been a good year. Enjoying you, Periscope. Sad to see that they cannibalized you, as they often do. But look, first things first, we gotta check out the wine, and I got some good wine. I got some good wine for you guys today, and I'm really excited about this tasting. Okay, really excited because you guys know we did the primary reds of Piemonte. And, Dolcetto, Gringolino, Barbera, and Barolo, and, Barolo, Barbaresco, Nebbiolo, right? Barbera, however, there has been a movement to take Barbera from certain locations and to give them separate appellation status. That's very high level, okay? Very high level. To make them into a DOCG as opposed to just a DOC. And that these specific locations shouldn't be called like Barbera de Alba or Barbera de Asti, that they're really on the level, arguably, of Barolo and Barbaresco. So I have a Nizza right here, which is one of these special appellations, probably the biggest one for Barbera. Very tiny. And we have it right against the Barolo, same producer, same year. I'm really excited for this one. Thank you, Alex, by the way. I appreciate that. It's always interesting to see what stuff gets attention and what doesn't. I feel like it could have gotten more attention, but I think it's one of those ones that people who got it loved it. Like it was like, whoa. And then I think for a lot of people, they probably weren't ready to receive it yet because it was pretty serious stuff in that one. Pretty serious stuff. If you haven't checked it out, I really recommend checking it out. I stan my 5D frame article. Took me a while to write that. So let's check out this Nizza. But first off, let's look at them because they are both very deep. In fact, I would say that the Nizza is even deeper than the Barolo. Yep, it's a little bit darker than the Barolo. So let's see here. That's good. Now, I opened these an hour and a half ago. So they've been able to get a little bit of air. It needs to open even more. But man, this is juicy. It's juicy stuff. Well, you know what, Dex, I'm looking good. That's what, 3 to 5 days in the gym per week, walking 6 to 10 on average miles a day, usually weighted, and drinking a couple glasses of wine, right? That's the secret. Is that the secret right there? The wine probably isn't. I'd probably look better without the wine, but I think the walking started to make an impact. Anyway, I appreciate it. 5D fitness, right? 5D fitness. But guys, this wine is really good. Amazing oak. It's really juicy. It's really like dark fruit, like dark berries, forest berries, blackberries. All berries are forest. All berries are forest berries. So the Barolo here. But this has got like a real stink to it. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is like a leather. So a lot of standard kind of Nebbiolo stuff you're getting here. Yeah, like an animal hide. Also, could use a little bit more opening up with the oak. They're very different. They are both really good. I mean, they're just completely different wines. The Nizza is so rich and deep and inky, and the Barolo is much more of it's got more finesse, a lot more finesse. Just really, really interesting. I'm gonna report back on how this stuff evolves over the night. But yeah, I recommend both of these. They were both a little pricey, both in like the $30 to $40 range, I think. All right, guys, let's do a little energy update here. A little energy update. I know a lot of you guys love the energy update. What's going on? I think that we've all been feeling this massive crescendo throughout March. I got to tell you guys, I mean, this has been a year of deep work, but I feel like March counted for half a year. Like this March alone was a different level. It was a different level of stuff. I swear it felt like every couple of days has felt like weeks have gone by. Like I look back, oh, March 1st. Feels like March 1st was 6 months ago. Like it feels ridiculous. That equinox hit different, man. That is exactly the way to put it. That equinox hit different. I mean, moving through trauma, negative patterns, my own relationship with my wife has just like next leveled. Um, really able to shift a lot of stuff in there that was, that was lingering, that was stopping us from getting to the next level. I mean, it's transformed. Like our intimacy is so much higher than it used to be. The sex is so much better. Just feel a lot more connected. Everything is really incredible. Yeah, it's really, really incredible. I feel bad for the people who weren't leaning into this energy because, I mean, we used to talk before about, oh yeah, the resets and how, remember it was like every couple of weeks or so. Remember that we get a reset and we like, oh yeah, woke up in the middle of the night. I was doing that like almost every day. It was literally like there were almost no normal days. I was either up super early with tons of energy or I had the sleep for like 10, 12 hours. And there was almost no in between. And it was bizarre. I had done nothing different. There was no difference to my overall. I just had a lot more energy, but I'd have days where I'd have to really process that were really heavy. But other than that, I mean, it was crazy. So where are we at now? Well, the way I would like to describe March is, yeah, I am too. It's a little bit less than it was around the equinox. It's easing off a bit, waking up more around 5:45 and 6 instead of 3:15, 3:45, 4. Um, the way I like to describe March is that March was like a spring. Okay, it was like a. I don't mean spring in the season, of course it was that too, but I mean it was like a spring being coiled back. And so all this energy has been building. Now, as we have been shifting throughout this month, as we've been shifting throughout the month, and as we've been raising our consciousness throughout the month, we are raising our consciousness in preparation for something big in April. There is some stuff that we have had to finally let go of, right? Finally let go of a lot of things, get to a certain level of consciousness so that we would be able to support something big. I mean, the energies coming down here are unlike anything else that we have ever experienced in our life. I really swear to God, it is like a year of work in a month. And what's crazy is just the amount of energy we're getting, like in terms of how we're feeling in our body. Lori Lodd's talked about how this is our physical bodies trying to adapt to it, and I think that she's right. I guess she's right about it because nothing else can explain it. Nothing else can explain it as far as I'm aware of. So where are we at, and what's going to happen? What's going to happen next? Well, I can tell you that we are going through what Juan Remember what Juan called a near-death experience. And I think in the last week, people who look, you guys, like, people can think what they want about me and what I believe and, various stuff. But let's be honest here. A year ago, they said it was a conspiracy. A year ago, they said that the little badges that we're going to have to carry around with us, wear your papers. They said, we all predicted this stuff a year ago. You guys remember? And they said it was a conspiracy. And now it's, well, they're going to roll it out. They're going to try to roll it out. And it's going towards that, right? That's where they're going. Make no mistake that the intention of things is to move very fast. Can you guys believe that it's been just a little bit more than 2 months and how much has already been pushed? How much have they already pushed it? People think it's about, oh, they're gonna take over, they're gonna get full control. That's not the intention. That's not the intention. The intention is to drive the country into a civil war, which of course we don't want. We don't want war. We don't want violence. But that's the intention, because you know what happens at the border, that they're going to continue to push that, and they're going to push it to a point where eventually Texas and a bunch of other states with Texas say, fuck you, and they mobilize their National Guard independent of the federal authority. And when the federal authority says you can't do that, they say fuck off. And then you have a situation where all the commerce breaks down, where you have actual outlaw activity. You have the gun grab that's moving. What happens next? I don't own a gun, but what happens? What happens? I mean, we had how many false flags in a row? What happens with these passports, right? Florida's saying no go with it. So then what happens? Interstate commerce breaks down. I mean, make no mistake, they're not going for keeps here. They're going for destruction. That's what they're going for. And so the reason I say this is because I want you to really use your discernment. And I don't want you to get caught up in anything. I mean, I think I can speak. Don't get caught up in anything. Be judicious. Don't be a hothead or anything like that. All we want is peace. That's what we want. So all we want is peace. All we want is to shift the timeline. There is going to come a moment, and I think it'll be in April, but we don't know when. But I think it's going to come in April, because I think beyond April, the near-death experience becomes a death experience. I think that things start to get out of hand on their own by that point. So I think it'll be soon. I understand there's a lot of operations in progress. Note for a second that none of the truthers, none of the people who talk about such things, they're all silent. No one's reporting anything. Psychics can't get downloads. They're blocked. That's good. Actually, that's good. Remember before it was like, yeah, and tomorrow they're going to do this, on this date, this is going to, we don't get that anymore. We just get silence. We get tons of misinformation. Oh, maybe it'll be August. Maybe it'll be May. No. Energy feels like it's coming really soon, and all signs are pointing to it. We don't know what it is. Well, the evergreen thing's interesting because, what was going on while we were focused on evergreen first off? I've heard that the thing is still taken to the side, so maybe that loop isn't closed. But what was going on? What happened when international shipping was messed up, right? This is what some of the things that Juan was talking about. What else was maybe going on? And there's a lot of trolling and stuff going on between both sides. It's a very dangerous game, though. I mean, I don't think people appreciate how dangerous the game is. A lot of tactical considerations, a lot of ways to lose this game, because when you're dealing with people who don't care, who it's like, I either win or I'll destroy everything, you have a very narrow path to victory. You got to thread the needle, right? There are many ways for things to fall apart. City could be vaporized in a nuclear bomb. I mean, there's nukes that are apparently unaccounted for. We don't know about this stuff. But the point I'm trying to make here is that there is going to be a moment and we've been kind of talking about this for a while, loosely, but there's going to be a moment where the move's going to be made, and all I can say is that they're going to want your support. They're going to need your support. And if that moment, and you will know the moment, we don't know what it is, but you will know it. It's one of those things you'll know. People are going to know when it happens that this is the moment. And when that moment happens, you need to be ready to speak your truth. You need to be ready to, non-violently assert your humanity. Because if you don't, it's done. It's done. And I don't know what to say to people who don't see that yet. We are, time moves a lot faster now, and we're at 1936, right? Time moves a lot faster now, though. It's not going to be 3, 4, 5 years. It's going to be 3, 4, 5 months. So, and I think you guys understand that I have quite a bit of skin in the game in saying that. No fear about it, no worries whatsoever, but I understand what happens to me if the timeline doesn't go the correct direction. I've heard it cuts you off from source energy. But you know what? I'm not going to talk too much about it. I think everyone has to make their own choice with that. And I think that the information's out there for you to make your own choice. But, I'm, you know what I think. You know what I think. So, where were we? You guys can ask another question while I try to figure out what was next. Masculine communication. Yeah, masculine communication. Well, I just want to say one other thing first. One of the ways that this stuff has worked for a long period of time has been that we've consented to things unconsciously, unknowingly, consented to things that violated our rights. And we've actually asked for it. The Hegelian dialect, we've talked about it tons of times. They create a problem, they offer, we demand a solution, they have the solution ready, gives them more. There's no karmic retribution for them for that. They're never going to stop that. They're never going to stop it. It's going to be a constant thing of, we'll give you a little bit, oh, you have to give us more. We'll give you a little bit, you have to give us more. And then it's going to be like, you have to give us more or we'll kill you. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. But it's not going to go that far. Because this is what happened. All this stuff was done with our consent before, the consent of enough people. But now they're violating the consent of too many people. They're violating too much consent at this point. Okay? And this matters because that produces a divine retribution. There is an allowance for darkness. Darkness is allowed. That's part of the game, that there can be darkness. As if we're being fair here, we know that darkness is required for light. We know to alchemize ourselves, to grow, we need to actually explore the darkness. The darkness plays a massive role in our progression, in our consciousness. But right now, they are violating free will. And that doesn't work. It doesn't work. And that's why I'm just saying to you guys, if anybody should be, 5D frame, but seriously, if anybody should be afraid, it should be me. But I'm not. I'm not afraid at all. The time will come and you will know the time, and be prepared for that. Be prepared to assert your humanity and be prepared to support the light. But don't do anything foolish. Don't do anything violent. That all plays into the hands of them. All right. So, let's talk a little bit about masculine communication here. I was talking to a client about this today. He was You know, really common issue. A lot of you guys love the video that got put out the other day about Madonna horror complex and about, actually, I may have been today. I don't remember. Like I said, this time dilation, but this idea of guys wanting, wanting the Madonna, but then getting bored with her in bed, etc., feeling something's like not really going on in the bedroom correctly, and then retreating into thinking about affairs, thinking about hooking up with other girls, thinking about watching porn. So what do you do as a guy to deal with that? How do you handle the situation? How do you manage it? Well, you gotta tell her. You gotta tell her. I have to say this. This is really important. Okay, a little bit of a segue. Pro bono calls were obviously designed for men, but I've had two women jump on. No issue whatsoever with that. I mean, I don't want the flood of women to come in. Okay, just understand. Actually, all right. I'm gonna make another segue because I have to address this. I meant to address this because I know I got a lot of lovely women who follow, and Michael Jaco, Jay Campbell. They've really encouraged me to work with women. I get it. I get questions from women every week. They can work with me. I'm not working with women, and here's why I'm not working with women. Okay, I was thinking about this today. It's like why am I not working with women? Why don't I feel a resonance? Here's why. Because what is going on right now is the return of the king. It's the return of king energy. It's return of the sacred masculine, divine masculine. It is the return of an integrated masculine presence on this planet. Okay? Women had their return of the queen, whatever sacred feminine energy, that happened 60 years ago. Now the masculine's coming in. Women have a lot of issues and struggles with men because of the programming that they've been manipulated and traumatized with, which is fed. It's gonna be, I'm gonna be. I'm hitting the gym just for that. You know that. Um. By the way, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? That was Tom Hanks' son. I have no idea. I have to be honest. I have no idea what the fuck that thing was. So, I'm still laughing about that video. Um, these women were having issues, and then they got put in the programs. They got traumatized. Things got a lot worse. A lot of them have become really fucked up as a result and very nasty. But a lot of them have just been very unhappy with their relationships with men. They're great women. They just want a really deep love. And I was talking to one of these women, and she was talking about, her husband and how she'd been with her husband all these years, and they had a kid together who had a little bit of a disability, not a serious one, but it required care. And it was an awful relationship, and he was like emotionally abusive, and I understood exactly what was going on. I mean, look, obviously, guys, I understand you can't just take it at face value, but I can read through these things. I understand what's going on. The guy was emotionally shut down, and he got into the relationship out of validation. He seduced her, and then it's kind of like he got that validation, he got it, and then he was like, well, I'm actually don't feel a connection with this person, don't know how to get my needs met, don't know how to express it, but now I feel trapped because I don't have any sense of myself, and I don't want to. I want someone to want me, but I want them to chase after me and do all these things for me, even if I don't give them anything in return later on. It's a very common thing. It's a shut down, distorted masculine, right? And so she's been dealing with him, and he's been, super critical, which is another big aspect of the distorted masculine. And this is what women have been dealing with. I mean, we have to just be honest as men. It's not simping, okay? Because it's not about being a nice guy. It's about being something different entirely. What we have right now is a lot of men have been either wimps, completely weak, subservient, go along, get along, the nice guy kind of stuff. Or They've been just emotionally shut down and brittle and really not able to emotionally engage with a woman. At their best, they're legitimately strong. At their best, they're legitimately strong. They check the basic boxes. At their worst, they are not really doing that and they can't connect with a woman. Okay. And women have had to deal with this shit. And it sucks for women. They've had to deal with this stuff for a while. And so my purpose is to shift these men. That's what I do. I shift the guys who are, I just got off, new client. I mean, my schedule's backed up for like 3 weeks now. I'm like burning the candle. Got, really great guy, high performer, emotionally a little shut down. These guys are getting opened up. They're learning how to get an emotional range. Other guys who have been sort of passive, nice guy-esque, we're learning how to teach them how to be men. That is what we are doing. But when women are like, I want to work with you, I want help, I love it. I appreciate you. I appreciate the support. I appreciate your resonance with the message. I will help you more if I can continue to help shift the collective of men, because your issue, in part, you may have your own issues, but I'm not a specialist in that anyway. If we're talking about a more macro thing, there is more value in me spending my energy to shift other men than it is for me to spend with you, because I can't fix your problem unless I can shift men. And that's why I'm not going to work with women, among other things. But just to give like a very logical explanation, I do greater good for women by not working with women. Okay? So let's go to masculine communication. I was talking to a client. Sex life was not what he was really looking for. It wasn't frequency. In fact, what you will often find once you get out of the pain point, once you get out of the pain point, position where women are about, it's all about a woman, she either wants to sleep with you or she doesn't want to sleep with you. Once you get out of that low level stuff, you understand it's like, actually, you could sleep with the woman a lot more, but is part of you not wanting to? Why not? What's going on? Now, as you recall, there are a couple different areas of energy. You have the physiological sort of body down in your balls, down in her ovaries, in her vag, right? Where there's a sexual energy that congregates, that's based on how you look as a man, how you smell, and your own connection to your own big dick energy, right? Your own connection to your own big dick energy. And then you have the mental stuff, which is like, what are your kinks, fantasies, talking dirty, etc. And then you have the heart. And the heart is something very different, but it's really just connecting with her, who she is, feeling her soul, feeling everything about her. Okay? Feeling that connection to her. And that's arousing to wanting to merge with her. Okay? You get that when you have a real, when your souls touch. When your heart is open, your souls touch. Okay? Now, here's the thing, though. A lot of times, women, they'll be receptive to sex, but they're not super open. Thank you. I appreciate that, London Blue. I appreciate that. That means a lot. They're not fully open. They have their own baggage, their own trust. I mentioned this before in a previous Periscope not too long ago. A lot of times women are not giving their best in bed. I love it. I love that people say, yeah, any guy should be able to open up a woman, right? If she's not giving you her best, it's because you're not doing it as a man. Well, yes, and bullshit. Because the reality is that a lot of women are shut down. So if you get with a woman in like a more casual sense, or there's no real super commitment early on, then maybe you can engage the fantasy part and you think that is her best. You think it's her best because she's falling into a fantasy. And so you feel like a sex god. And in that context, you are a sex god. You are literally representing some sort of sexual archetype of sexual fulfillment for her. But where's the individual connection? If you're in a more committed relationship, opening her up, there's a mental aspect, sure. But a lot of it is that she's got her own baggage she has to clear out. Because when she has baggage and the fantasy can't work to bypass the baggage, then what you have is a woman who is just not going to be as open and enthusiastic as you'd like. And actually, it's not necessarily a reflection on you. Not entirely, at least. And so what you have to do in that situation is simple, but not maybe easy. You have to call it out. You have to be very direct with her about it. But look, this is where we get into this sort of triangle of integrated masculine, distorted masculine, weak. Distorted masculine will criticize the girl, say, "Hey, you're just bad in bed. I'm not getting anything out of it. I'm not turned on. You have to do this. You need to do more of these things, do more of these things," which of course will crush a woman, crush her. And then she'll shut down more. Maybe if you have enough power behind you, you'll get her to perform, but you're not going to really open her up. And then you have the other thing that guys who, if they even, and then of course, if they ever express at all, and most of them don't, most guys will just simply shut down and do it on the side, either with porn or other things, because they have too much shame or too much guilt to address it. But if these guys do address it, they'll say, well, I kind of turn me on if you did this, and, that would be nice. And actually, that's what the mainstream recommends, which, of course, is not very sexy. You can maybe do that one off, not like that, but you can inform one off like that. But she's like, oh, and she's going to be turned off because she's going to feel the weakness. So what do? You tell her, but you tell her from a position of love, which is what the woman responds to. The woman needs you to adjust her. That's what the masculine energy does. Just like the man needs the woman in some ways to heal them or to love them. That's why men are so obsessive about, I want someone, they won't admit it, they close off, but as a man, we have a desire and almost a fear of being loved. Like we really want it, but we're also afraid we won't get it. That's why women are such a draw to us. That's why men are the romantics, right? Men are romantics. Men are romantics because men don't have a natural affinity to love, so they romanticize love. Whereas women are more plugged into love, the flow of love. They romanticize strength. No one talks about that, do they? Women romanticize strength. They romanticize the fact that a man can really take a lot of shit. A lot of women, if they're honest with themselves, if they love men, that's the biggest thing that they appreciate about men. I don't know how he deals with it. That's what they always say. I don't know how he deals with it. I don't know how he can handle it. That's what they say about men. We don't usually verbalize our own romanticism to women, but that's what we do. Feeling the power here, right? I almost feel like I'm getting a little emotional. It's power. It's powerful stuff. So when you tell a woman that you want more from her in that department, you need to speak your truth, but you need to speak it from the perspective of, I want you. I want all of you. I don't want you holding back from me. I want all of your love. I want all of your surrender. This is not like some sort of bullshit position stuff. This is, I want you. I don't want to lose you, but if you will not give me all of you, I don't want you. I want the deepest, most intense, most connected experience with you I can get, and I won't settle for anything less. And all those parts of you that need to come out, that need to be revealed, I want those parts of you. That's it. Feel the difference for how a woman is going to experience that criticism. Might entice her a little bit more. The boundary's still there. I'm going to leave if I don't get it in the end, because I have to have it. But the problem for when you criticize a woman is you will damage her trust for you. Now, of course, a woman should be able to receive truth, but I just wanted to be honest about this. Is one of the big issues between men and women and how they communicate with each other. So, guys, I got one question here. I'm going to hit this question. It's a long question. You guys can feel to drop some things. I'm going to stay on here till 6:30, so I got another 18 minutes. Let me see this. All right. Hey, Pat, hope you're good. Quick question for the periscope. I know you have talked a lot about gray area for guys and how you should be honest about your intentions at some point. However, it would be interesting to hear your perspective on where the gray area for women sits. How do you view a scenario whereby you've been seeing a girl for a few months, things are going well, she's showing you signs, she's pretty into you, you're into her, but you get an inkling that she's still entertaining her options with other guys by either entertaining their attention or even still seeing other guys, but she's still angling for a relationship from you. How do you find out if she is still entertaining guys / her intentions a few months into dating? Can you ask her outright, or is there a more subtle way to figure it out? We all know that if you're in a relationship with a woman, then her accepting certain attention from guys, like replying to texts, instant DMs, flirting, is off the cards. However, what kind of expectations can you have from a woman that you're a few months into dating and still in the gray limbo area? Basically, at what point is her behavior disrespectful to you, and does it disqualify her as a girlfriend potential versus technically still being single and just part of dating? Great question. Super nuanced, honestly. Obviously, I just want that to be clear. There's a lot of context here. There are two reasons a woman is doing that, and you have to figure out which is which. So one of the reasons a woman might be doing that stuff is that, well, first off, let's look at yourself. Are you playing games with her? Are you playing games with her? Think about it for a second. Why have you been dating her for a couple of months, and why have you not moved it forward? This is important because a woman who has self-respect, some types of women with self-respect, but who, like you, might actually, at a certain point of not getting commitment, they will start to talk to other guys to kind of make you jealous, but also just to remind you that, hey, you actually haven't locked this down, so don't expect me to, crawl after you. So this is important because I think that we as guys, especially when we consume too much manosphere content, we have this perception that, well, she's always going to do, if I have the frame, then I can drag it out, and she's going to be just completely interested and want me. There's always a feedback. Women who have more self-respect, but who aren't quite ready to leave it, they're going to hedge a bit for their own self-protection. And frankly, a pretty solid way to hedge on their part is to talk a bit with other guys without moving forward with it. Now, all of that said, everything there just said, okay? Has she been doing it throughout the entire course of the relationship? Was she doing this at a certain point after months, or was she always doing it and has never stopped doing it? Then you're confronted with two situations. Either she wants the commitment but isn't going to respect you, so she's going to continue to, oh, yeah, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, but, oh, no, these are my friends. And then you're just looking for a disaster down the road because she wants the label, she wants your commitment, but she's not willing to give you the same. And she'll gaslight you and tell you, well, they're just friends. It's not a big deal. Super common situation. The other possibility is that she doesn't realize what she's doing. And she's doing that, but she's not doing it to offend you. She just has a lot of guy friends, and she doesn't realize that she's kind of, her intimacy is a little bit compromised by these attachments. So what do you do in the situation? You call it out. You talk to her. You talk to her, right? I mean, it's been a couple months. You guys are seeing each other. You can ask her what's going on. I mean, this is when you get to the point where you would put her in a relationship. Got a dog here. Where you would get into a relationship with her, but if it wasn't for the stuff. So when she kind of like makes some sort of thing, say, look, I would have already asked you out, but what are you doing talking to all these guys? What's going on here? And then she's like paddle back. What do you mean? Well, you didn't ask me out. And then you get to the heart of it. Which of these three scenarios is it? Which of the three is it? The middle one is the one you really don't want. 1 in 3 could work with. We'll see. It is all real life, isn't it? It is all real life. But I think at the deeper point here that, I know you guys get it, but just all this yard noise now. So we're going to wrap this one up. Everything a girl does has a reason behind it, and what matters is the reason behind it, not what the girl does. That's the most important thing. Okay? People do things for a wrong reason. This is why, look at a murder case. We have first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter, negligent homicide. The reason for that is because the intention matters. So all this kind of stuff. If a girl does this, then this. Well, no, not necessarily. She could be doing it unconsciously. She might love you, but she doesn't know what she's doing wrong. She might be doing it, but she's trying to get your attention so that you'll treat her better. She could be doing it because she's a bitch and she disrespects men and parasites. You have to figure out the motivation. You have to figure out the intention. And that's what I do with guys. That's what I do with clients. But anyway, guys, much love. As always, we will figure out the Twitter thing, Twitter Live, what we're going to do next. But continue to hold the light. Continue to be as amazing as you all are. As we all know, things are just going to get better, but they could get a little hot. They could get a little hot. Aries could get a little hot, but we know what's coming on the other side. Love you all. Love you, Ricky.